Welcome back to the Chatterbox with King Jacob. I'm yours truly, King Jacob, and we're back with another episode on Terrific Tuesday, where we bring you life situations about the community, just about real life. And tonight's topic, is going to be a very very exclusive topic, and it's heartfelt, and a lot of people was affected, by what we're about to discuss. And I have none other than a longtime friend. Our families know each other. You know, she definitely a good all around person. You know, Miss Catherine, my Abney. And we just know her as the beautician Mott. She's done everybody hair from. Yeah, man. Listen, she been in that game. What was it, 30 years?
27 legally, 27.
Okay, yeah. So we know her as the hairstylist, the beautician. Get the ladies right, hook them up before they go out in weddings, clubs, proms, whatever. So, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
So tonight we're talking about the topic is life after losing a child, and this is something that you went through wasn't that long ago. And so we're going to talk about the situation that happened and why it happened, how it happened, and because from what I know about your son, everybody loved him. Good dude, all around, well grounded person, and he was serving his country too as well. Correct?
Yeah, you're
Right, right.
correct. He was a veteran in the army, had been to Afghanistan twice, came home to get killed at his hometown. Um, Very discouraging. It's been 6 years now. He's a cold case now. We wonder why.
Wow. So at the time, if you can go back to the date, when did he come home on leave? As far as like was he just visiting you guys, or had he already returned back to the hometown?
He was home. He was home, and he was at that time he was staying in between with his aunt and his father. But he was on reserve, so he had
Hmm.
been to Afghanistan and came back, and he wanted to be in Newberry. He wanted to be in Newberry and Prosperity, which he was started out being raised over there, but he was actually raised in Sluter. Went to school to Hollywood, and I moved him out of Sluter in his 12th grade year, and he went to Mid Carolina for a minute. Then he actually graduated from C.A. Johnston in Columbia, South Carolina. So he was home. He was working at GP, um, pretty
Okay,
much.
okay. So, like I said, he was well-devised person, well-rounded person. Everybody loves him, young and old. And
Right,
so on this particular night when he went out, um, he was with familiar people that he know. Correct?
right.
Okay. And so from the details that you got about what happened that particular night, what did people who may have been there, people who may have heard, like what did they say actually happened?
Well, actually, I to this day I truly don't have the whole story, but I do know that he went to the party with some friends, and some a fight broke out, and somebody started shooting, and he got shot. But at this point, it's they saying it's over 100, maybe 200 people at this party. And my understanding is I don't understand why nobody seemed to know who shot and killed him. But they can tell me one girl inboxed me and said, "Well, I had to put my pants in the cleaner because I had Richard blood on me." But if you was that close, why you ain't see who shot him?
Right.
Family, friends that still letting him lay in that ground in vain, walking around with the note. They'll sit around the campfire and talk about it. But nobody ever came to me and really talked about it. The pieces and bits I get is from when I go to Newberry County, surprise pop up on the solicitor, the police officers. that's when I'm getting my bits and pieces. They'll tell everybody in the family, but they never really told me the story. So I just know if the shoe was on the other foot, he wouldn't hesitate on trying to get their killer, you know.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay,
And
so upon you hearing bits and pieces, did you hear there was any internal beef inside the party that led to the outside, or did the party get shot up?
no, I heard it was some guys fighting in the inside of the party. Some guys fighting in the inside of the party, and they walked outside, and that's when the shooting began.
Mhm.
So, like I said, it's 6 years later, and I'm still clueless to a lot of the information. I just know
Right.
when I go and talk to the chief of police in Newberry, he'll tell me everything that he know that he can tell. A lot of people wanted to blame the police officers, but they ain't talking. They doing that street code. So it's nothing much that they can do if nobody giving any information.
Okay. 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 So, upon you finding out what had happened, like, so was this a next? Okay. First, I'm gonna ask you this. So, upon your son getting shot, because he wasn't dead instantly, right?
Not, well, not from what I know. From what I heard, that I did hear this, that he prayed and then he laid back and passed away. So he got on
Mm.
his knees and he prayed and he laid back and he passed away. That was that was told to me, and
Okay.
which
Okay.
was really soothing for me. That if he had any sin, he got right with God before he passed away. Something a lot of
Right.
people don't get to do.
Right. 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 And so upon you hearing what's going on, and how old was your son when he passed away?
He was 24 years old.
Wow. Oh my.
24, had been a veteran, had been to Afghanistan twice. I can remember him telling me a story about getting lost for a week in Afghanistan. Him and one of his battle buddies, and that was lost in the desert. And
Mm.
he pretty much had me laughing because he was like, we was like Forrest Gump and Bubble. When we was in there, we was back to back, protecting each other, and that's
Right.
how we made it back. So he went through the war. He was like, Mom, you don't know what I had to do over there. You don't know what I had to do. Cause little kids will walk up to you with a bone strapped to them and blow you up. He was like, you just don't know what I had to do. But to come
Right.
home and get killed by people that he knew, from the names that being called, because the case is still an open case. I can't call nobody's name out.
Right.
But the
Right. Right.
names
Right.
that being called, he knew these people. Like
Mm-hmm.
they knew him.
Right. So
And go
serving
ahead.
his country, been to Afghanistan twice, and to come back to a familiar place where he has family and friends, um, and to get killed when he's at a social gathering, quote unquote party.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
quote
actually,
unquote
where
party.
he got killed at, we stayed the next street over when he was little. From the time he was born to he was about, I think I moved to Saluda with my two kids when one was 5 and one was 3, or one was 6 and 4. But yeah, like you literally, when he got killed at, we literally could walk to the place, like maybe 5 to 7 minutes, if it's good 10 minutes.
Mm, wow. Because when I first heard, I was like, "Who?" That was like, "Yeah, you know Mott, right?" I was like, "Sure, of course I do." Like, know her. I know her family too, dad, grandma, and
Right.
I was like, you talking about the same Mott that their grandma won't let them come out the house, right? Yeah,
Right.
that Mott. I was like, her son got what? They was like, yeah, man, her son was murdered last night. I was like, the one that just came home from the military. They was like, yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, what? He was in Columbia, Augusta, Atlanta, somewhere. They was like, no, he was in Newberry. I said, Newberry at home, around family and friends, his peers.
Right.
They was like, yeah. I was like, wow. And the first thing I said, was it over some woman or something? They was like, not that I'm aware of, because he don't beef about women.
Right.
You know, so they was like, I was like, so it wasn't meant for him? They said, I'm not sure. They said, I'm not sure.
I thought at first, that it wasn't, because I thought it was just one bullet. But you can't hit the same target twice if you're not shooting at them.
Mm.
And this is something I never enclosed to nobody. Like if you shot him once, because that first bullet wouldn't have killed him. But when you shot him twice, you knew you intended to do what you did,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if it wasn't no beef or wasn't like I said. I still don't know the full story, because there's a lot of cowards out here, and I mean cowards. That's family, friends, and whoever that was there that ain't manning up to get him some peace. They always posting rest in peace. How? When he know people that he loved and people that he gave and people that he went and fought for y'all to walk around here to be free and to live, that y'all don't care enough for him to solve his murder. So that's what
Wow.
I've been carrying for the last 6.5 years. That's what I've been carrying. And it's so, because it was like when I got the call, my mom called me and it was like two something in the morning. I'm like, I better answer the phone. And she, older people in that older generation, they're so nonchalant. She wasn't screaming, she wasn't hollering, she was just so calm. And she was like, what you doing? I said, Mom, I'm in this bad sleep. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And she was like, well, Richard just got shot. And I'm like, okay, he in the military. He trained for this. You know what I'm saying? He got shot. So the way you talking, I'm thinking my baby okay, He just got shot. So I'm like, okay, Mom, okay. Let me get up, get dressed. This time I'm living in Columbia on Farrell Road. So
Uh-huh.
I get up, I get dressed, I wake my daughter up. Come on, Lisa, cause Richard, we calm. Come on, Lisa, cause Richard got shot. So mind you, I'm on Farrell Road. So we get in the car, going down the road. I get to Harvesting, and I see an ambulance shoot up the road, not knowing that somebody else got shot. That got shot too out there. So the ambulance going to road. So I pick up the phone and I call Mom. I said, Mama, this time I'm like, never curse, never none of that. Mom, what the hell? Why the hell you got me coming to Newberry and an ambulance just passed coming from Newberry that time of night? So I'm thinking, okay, why you got me coming to Newberry? And he in this ambulance because it's coming from Newberry. And she said, no, baby, come to Dre Street. I said, my baby dead. Like, she was like, what you mean? I said, my baby dead. I lived in Newberry all my life. If he ain't in this ambulance coming to Columbia and he in that Newberry hospital, which is 5 minutes away, you want me to come to a place? I said, my baby dead. I knew.
Mm.
I knew then. I knew then that he had passed away. And my daughter started screaming in the house. I said, Lisa, quit screaming and hollering. We got to get there. We got to get there to my baby. I got to go where my baby at. Nobody had to tell me because I knew I was going to a place. I wasn't going to a hospital nowhere. I knew I was going to a place.
Wow. I'm lost for words. My I I just think that with these kids out here nowadays, you know, they just I just don't know what the mentality is to just actually take somebody's life and then take somebody's life that loved everybody
Right,
and will give you the shirt off his back.
right.
You know what I mean? This is it's crazy. So
And
um
and the
and
point is, like, ever since then, it's been so many murders in Newberry. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
been so
Yeah.
many murders. If y'all would have spoke up then, maybe a lot of these murders in Newberry wouldn't be happening.
Right.
But it's been so many parents, so many of my friends, so many of that I know that done lost their black male, the black male, the seed of our life. They just going. They
Right.
just
You're right.
losing. We just losing them. When we losing
Right.
them to people that they know, people that they done hung with, people that they done sat down and ate at the table with. That's the sad part. You want to know why? Because nobody wants to get together and do marches. Nobody wants to get together and raise hell for their community. But if something happened in Chicago, we ready to put on a shirt and fight for them, but we can't fight for our neighbor. We can't fight for a child that we done chastised when they were little. We can't fight for a child that we done fed. We can't fight for our own little communities. Like, we don't.
Right. 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 I can get what you're saying there. Thank you, LaRonda, and for tapping in. Which is my cousin. So thank you, Bud, for
That
tapping
was
in.
Richard's second mama. he stayed
Mm.
at her house. That was his second mama.
Yeah, she cuz is good people, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
her tapping in.
yes,
She really good. She's a sweetheart, man. I tell people all the time, you got some people that's just good, man, and
yeah.
just good. And I see your daughter tapping in as well. So
Hey, Sade. Hey, Bub. Now, that's who's still grieving. Like, I'm grieving, but she's still grieving.
right, right,
And
right.
it's just, I had a hard day about last Thursday. I had a real hard day because I moved and I'm unpacking and I seen a lot of pictures and it just took me back. Like, the things that people worry about nowadays, I worry about, do I have his vault tight enough? Is he
Mhm.
cold in the wintertime? Is he hot in the summertime? Has the maggots started eating on him? Those are my worries.
Uh-huh.
Because you never stop worrying about your child through life or death.
Hmm.
And that's the mother that I am. Like, do I did it, what is his vault is tight enough? Like, I just want to know how he's doing down there in the ground. But
Hmm.
I know his soul is in heaven. But I love the body, the flesh, and the soul. I
Right,
love
right,
everything about my son.
right, 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 right,
And
right.
I still love him after death. And then he got a little 6-year-old that he never got to see. He never got to see his daddy. Me and him was together about 2 weeks ago. And he's
Mhm.
6 now, so he was like, I ain't gonna never get to see my daddy. So we got to explain to him, me, his mother, his aunts, we got to explain to him that you may not never get to see him, but you got his spirit. You got some of his spirit.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he know how to take
Yeah.
you to his daddy's grave. He know how to take you, and he got 2 other kids, 2 girls and a boy.
Right, right. So that's sad. That's sad, man. You got fatherless children out here, all because of someone else's I'm gonna say stupidity.
Right.
But you strong. Your daughter's strong. Your family's strong because that's a lot to get through. But I'm just
I
so
haven't been
glad.
always been strong though. I tried to commit suicide.
So okay. So that's another thing about this interview to grow awareness. From the mental health, the emotional health, and the spiritual health. So let's talk about the mental capacity that you had once you lost your son. And then to to you as a mother to see your other kids go through mental breakdown as well. So
Right.
um how was that for you and how did you overcome it? Because you said that suicidal thoughts was on your mind.
Not thought. I actually did an act,
Mm,
but God wasn't. it wasn't my time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I actually, and this is a secret that I've kept to myself because I'm very private with my life. So this
Uh-huh.
is a very secret, because when I did, after I did it, I was ashamed because I always been known to be the strongest person that people knew, but I didn't know how to bury my child. I didn't know how to lose him. I didn't know how to not get the birthday call, not get that Mother Day call, not just get that I'm calling you Madre, because he called me Madre. He didn't call me Mom. Madre. I just didn't know how to do that. But I was laying down. It's two things that spiritual that happened to me. And if my cousin Keisha Penny remember, if she can remember me calling her round about the time that Richard had passed away, her dad used to own a horse called Thunder. And he been passed away a couple years, a few years. And he rode up on that horse and he said, he was telling me, he was like, I got him. I got him. And he had the biggest smile. He was like, that's Mott boy right there. I got him. So that put a little bit more life in me to know that somebody that was in my family that was around my baby. They knew that was my baby, so they was gonna take care of him in heaven. And
Mm-hmm.
then Richard came back to me himself and said, I tried to not take a bath. I tried to just lay on the couch and I tried to climb on the rock. And Richard came back to me and said, Madre, that's not you. Get up. I'm okay. I'm okay. And I started living. That's when I started living. Then I reflect back to that when they had him in the body bag. When you go back there, they said, we're going to ask you 3 times who this is, and you have to say their name. So the first time they asked me, and I told them Richard Rashawn DeVale Sims, because that's his name. They said, say it again. I said, Richard Rashawn DeVale Sims. That third time, I said it, but I broke. But when I looked at him, he had that same smile on his face that he was born with and that he lived with all up into that time. So I was relieved. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was really relieved. Because when they unzipped that body bag, he had a smile on his face. Like he didn't suffer. Like he didn't go through no pain. So that helped me too.
Okay. And so the mental part of this and how you pick yourself back up mentally. Um, what was the first thing you did after you picked yourself back up mentally? Because I know you was in sort of a secluded space where you didn't want to talk, you didn't want to be around people,
Right.
you know, you just wanted to be to yourself. And so how did you pick yourself back up mentally now? We got to keep in mind, you know, picking yourself back up mentally on a different thought process, you know, even though you still might be grieving, as they say, I'm grieving, I'm not dead. You know what I mean? So picking yourself back up mentally, what was that like for you and your children?
I realized that I had another child. I realized that I had another living, breathing child that I had to be there for. And we had to be there for each other. Because regardless of my grieving, her and Richard was 2 peas in a pod, and she was grieving just as much as I was.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I had to realize that he had kids, that I had to make sure that I stay focused and be aware of their grieving. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to rebuild my strength to be strong for them.
Okay. And so from that emotional standpoint of view, you know, people don't realize your emotions can impact the way you move and how you move. If your emotions is all over the place and your emotions is very disbarred and you really can't really think because you're crying, you're hurting your heart, cause the way your heart hurt will cause you to have chest pains, a headache. It'll
Right.
cause your whole body to be in pain. It'll cause you to be shivering. And so, and I know you was all there at one time.
Right.
So
Long time.
so yeah, so getting through that emotional pain, you know, how did you build yourself up back emotionally to really sit down and have a conversation with your daughter about your son not being here no more, and just remembering the good times, and about y'all staying bonded and loving one another, because that's what he would want.
Well, we all, well, among that, my family and my friends and my friends that I built to be family, they was strong. They was there. They was strong. They was willing. Even sometimes when I turn them down, they'll pop up. They didn't leave me. Like most of the time in death, people be around, but after them 7 days of burying and stuff, you be by yourself. But my family, and my friends, and my family friends that I'd have made into a family that are my friends, they stayed around. They didn't leave me. A lot of people
Wow.
didn't leave me. My clients, they didn't leave me. They gave me they gave me the mental space to, and waited on me to come back to work on my own time. They it's just been a blessing all the way around.
Hmm.
And one person besides my family stuff, Reggie, Reggie Johnson, like he was one of the main person that stayed on me. Like every time I tried to have a breakdown, he would call me. It could be 2 in the evening, 2 at night. He would call me. What you doing? And he stayed himself. He stayed himself. What you doing? You crying, nigga? Excuse my language, the N word. That's what he would tell me. You crying? He would always say, Richard wouldn't want that for you. Come on, man, get out of that. Come on, man, step back. He don't want that for you. And
Hmm.
every time he got off that phone, he would say, God told me to call you. People think I'm a bad person, but God tells me to call you. And it was every time I tried to make a mental break. See, that's friends like those is friends that you need.
They're
And
hard to
every
come by.
before he hung that phone, he was like, God told me to call you.
My I knowed you for a long time, man, and I always knowed you, to treat people right. I knowed you. I remember I used to tell one of my homeboys, I said, that's that jazzy chick right there. Yo, you was always fly, always decked out. But what I knew about you is you come from, as they say, that good stock.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you always treated people right, and to to hear that you're not doing well when you always uplift everybody else and you always was an upbeat person, like that kind of really, really hurt me. You know what I mean? Because you was
Right.
always that person that always had some encouraging, some positive words to say. And so for you to lose your son and for
Right.
him to get murdered and for that to even interrupt your spiritual journey, because that was a major interruption to you spiritually as well.
Right.
And so the question for me, for somebody that's out there going through it, for somebody don't know that they can find their way, and somebody that's like just giving up on God, like how did God lift you up to get you back on their
I
spiritual
I had to
quest?
let go. I had to let go of I had to let go of myself and let God. Once I let go and I let God, the light, everything just changed for me. Like, cause I was trying, and one thing I never did until last Thursday was question God, because I know we all got a dying date. It'd be tragic how we go, but I had mentally put it in my mind that that date was Richard Death date. It was just
Hmm.
tragic how he went. And I don't, and I think God calling, can't nobody change that. Can't nobody change that. But like I had to let go and let God. Like I truly had to let go and let God. And I didn't hate nobody. I didn't get mad at nobody's family. None of the boys. If I seen their moms and stuff, we generally speak, and we hugged each other, and we, like, I didn't carry Richard death onto nobody else because of what they son with the names of the sons that being called. I didn't blame their parents. I didn't blame their sisters. I didn't blame their cousins. I didn't
Mhm.
blame them. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I want justice. That's all of it. That my baby is a cold case, and it ain't no need. It ain't no need for him to be a cold case. Like,
Right.
it's people out here that know, and it's no need for him to be no cold case. Give me relief. Like, give me the relief that I need.
Right.
It's going on 7 years on October the 31st / November the 1st. Like, I need this closure.
Right. You definitely do. You definitely do. So with that being said, you gotta be a strong person to still even engage in the conversations with those parents. And like you said, it's really not those parents' fault because people know how they raise their children, but they don't know what their children are going to do in the world.
In the
You know what I
world.
mean?
Right.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen when they navigate through society. And
Right.
so, with that being said, let's let's kind of talk about the journey that you and your daughter are on now. As far as I know it's still it's always going to be embedded in your mind about your son. And so, how has that mental, emotional, spiritual journey been for her, and with you watching her as your daughter, you a mother, like how did you kind of help her get through it as well?
Well, I don't think she's um nowhere close to being through it. Nowhere close to being
Well,
caught up with it.
well,
I think that
well, better, better than she was.
yeah, she's better than what she was. But I actually think that she needed counseling, even though they offered it to me. But I really think, and that was another thing. I was too proudful to take counseling, because I always been that strong. I got these wide built shoulders. But I think her, a lot of my little great nieces and nephews, I think a lot of my family need like a family counseling to this day. To this day, like, I really think the people that I really think my daughter needed, my great nieces and nephews needed, my nieces and nephews needed. Like, it just it's just a pill that's still stuck. It ain't even at the back of our tongues yet. It's still stuck. And it's been
Hmm.
7 years. I don't care how much water we drink, we can't get that pill down. And
Right,
I look at a lot of the young people in my family truly struggling over Richard death, because they never had to endure that. They never they never understood, but they never got help either though.
right,
So I
right.
think and like I said, I've been trying to put together um a nonprofit organization for a good little while now. But I can't blame nobody but myself, because I pull back. Because I get in my feeling and I pull back. And I know the work that I can do if once I start on that road.
Right, right,
But it's a lot of people need counseling.
right. So that's another thing. Like from your standpoint of view, and what you went through with losing your son, and just for you those who just tapped in, we're talking about life after losing a child. I'm here live with one of my good friends, Catherine, my Abney, and we're
Just
talking
say
about.
my
But yeah, but for those who don't know you, so because you
yeah.
might have somebody that you're gonna inspire by this podcast watching out in New York or in Atlanta somewhere. So
Right.
because it's the inspiration that you still can stand strong. And like I hear this a lot about our people, especially about the black culture, the black community, and why we're so afraid of counseling,
Right.
and why we feel like this person don't know me, so what can they tell me about my life? But it's really not about that. It's really about talking to somebody that's professional, that don't know you, that won't give you a biased opinion because they
Right.
know you, but they don't know you. So
Right.
um, I encourage you, your family members, um, whoever it may be. I encourage you, if you can still seek counseling, seek that counseling, because it's going to really help you navigate through your journey, and it's going to open a window up for you where you can go through the healing process, because not going through a healing process after something that tragic happens, it's something that's serious, because I can tell you, after my pops died, I had a lot of pastor friends around me, a lot of
Right.
ministers, a lot of people that they helped me with that journey. But
Right.
if somebody has offered you counseling and it's still open for you, why not go? I mean, if
Right.
it ain't if it,
But
if it ain't nothing.
I had to learn that. I had to learn that lesson. I had to learn that lesson on my own. Like I had
Hmm.
to learn that, don't be so prideful, or don't be embarrassed, because in our black culture, we're taught to keep everything a secret.
That's
And
right.
that's
That's
one
right.
thing that we need to break out of, because had I knew then in 2015, I may not be still in the shape that I am right now, like with still dealing. Like sometimes I can see a hearse go down the road, or a funeral being done, and I break down. I'm crying, and so we just need to know that we got to break the generation gaps, that everything is not meant to be left a secret.
It's not. It's not. It's not. And then to go through something like this by yourself, sometimes we'll be around family and friends, and we still feel so all alone.
Right.
I used to manage a hip hop artist, and he put a mixtape out called "Alone in a Crowded Room." And
Right.
I asked him, I said, "Man, why you name it that?" He said, "Man, because sometimes in life, man, when you're navigating, you have anxiety, you have depression, you feel like you're not loved, and things happen beyond your control. You can be in a room with full of people, like
Yeah.
it can be a lot of people in the room, but you still feel alone, because you're alone mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and you're not in a comfortable space where you feel like you deserve to even be around people. And so, it goes real deep about being around people and still feeling alone.
Right.
You know what
I
I mean?
always used to say, I can be drowning on dry land and nobody would notice.
Mm,
That
have
that was
mercy.
my motto. I'm drowning on dry land and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed.
Wow. Listen, man. Like, listen. That's deep. And sometimes I tell people, when people are in their grieving process, let's be there for them.
Right.
But let's not be too pushy with them,
Right.
because the process that God may want them to go through, it don't have nothing to do with their friends and family. That's
Family.
between
Right.
them and God. You
Right.
know what I mean? And sometimes God will put you in a space when He needs you to be there. He'll tell you to go, but
Right.
just to be overbearing to them every day, and when they're already grieving mentally and emotionally and spiritually, you know, the grieving process is something serious. Everybody don't grieve the same.
Right. No.
Just like you might grieve this way, and your daughter might grieve another way.
Right.
And then your cousin Bug might grieve another way because she his second mom. And
Right.
so everybody got to grieve in their own time, but y'all all come back together because y'all bonded, y'all family,
Right.
y'all love one another,
Right.
and y'all still ride for one another and help one another. So
Right.
so with that being said, I want to ask you. I know you mentioned that he used to be between his moms excuse me, his aunties and his dad house, right? And
Yeah.
so after this process, like, so how's his auntie and his dad holding up? Like, so what's
Well,
the
I well his aunt, they that's she's my oldest sister. They and her kids, they struggle hard with it too
okay?
because they struggle real hard. But as of his dad, honestly, I can't even tell you because we haven't spoke since the day of his funeral.
Oh wow,
But that's a whole nother ball game. So
right. I
sometimes
understand. I
you got to
understand.
just let sleeping dogs lie and let them, let them sleep while they sleeping. We haven't spoke since then, so I can't speak on nothing negative against him, nothing against him. So I can't speak on his grieving process.
Right. Okay. And so I also heard that you want to start this nonprofit. So tell us more about what you want the nonprofit to consist of, and how you want to grow awareness and inspire other people and help, you know, help parents, get through this as well.
Well, my nonprofit that I want to start is called City to City Cold Case.
Mm.
City to City Cold Case because I know Prosperity. I know Newberry. I know Aiken. I know Sluter. I know Ridge Spring. I know where there have been a black male death, where anybody male, but mostly males, death that's unsolved. They all cold case. So I want to put awareness on, just because they passed away, it don't mean that they're not nobody. They don't need to be sitting on the shelf in boxes. It's a lot of parents that I know I can call by name. I can call their children by name. That case has been cold case for over 10 years now.
Some more than that.
Some more than that, you know.
Right.
So that's the nonprofit I want to start, because we got enough out here fighting against gun violence, fighting against children being exploited and everything else. I want to go back and at least clear up some of these cold cases that's on the shelf for our black males, our black kids, our black females. Like that's I mean, it ain't got to be a child. It ain't got to be. I just want from city to city cold cases. Let's
Okay.
start looking back into them.
Okay. So you want to grow that awareness for the cold cases that's been put on the shelf, and wondering why they never got solved.
Hmm.
Was it not enough evidence, or
Right.
like
At least open them back up. See, I have to go. I have to personally go, get in my car and go to Newberry and get on the solicitor. This the only problem that I have with them is I have to go and be like, what's going on with my son's case? Have y'all got new evidence? Have y'all did this or have y'all did that? See, when you don't stay involved, they forget about you. See, I'm not gonna
Mhm,
let them forget about me. I'm not
mhm,
gonna let them forget about Richard. And many times I do it by myself because I don't feel like I need to ask nobody. And I tell my family, y'all stay right there in Newberry. Go up to the courthouse and every now and then and ask about Richard case. It's okay. Anybody can ask. That's public. They ain't gonna tell you the detail, but it's public, so they got to tell you something. They
right,
gonna have
right,
to tell you something.
right.
So anybody can go in their town and go to the courthouse and say, what's going on with Richard case? And they got to give them some information. Then if you got 1,000 people going up there, then that's when they gonna say, let's look back into this case.
Yeah,
But if you got one and two every other month or every other 6 months or every other year, they ain't gonna bother because we ain't bothered.
right. Hmm. Well, I do really think that this nonprofit is needed. I think that you'll do well, and I think a lot of people, or once you get it up and running, a lot of people who have went through things similar that you went through, I think they would
Right,
jump on a board with you, and I think it can be a whole movement.
right,
And so I salute you, and I dedefinitely
appreciate
can help. Once you get it started, I do got a
Yeah.
grant right. I can contact to help you get some grants and stuff like that. So no
Okay,
worries.
all right.
Yeah. You know me, you talked about this before, so you
Before,
know
yeah.
yeah. So we'll definitely get it started. So um from the dialogue that we had, and it was open about your son, death, and um about your mental state, your emotional state, your your spiritual state, as well as your daughters as well, and as well as you being there for your grandkids, and just having Richard's legacy to live on, and his spirit lived through all of you that
Oh
loved him very
yes.
much. So, what are some things that you want to say to other mothers and fathers who may be going through this?
What I always tell a mother and a father is don't be ashamed to grieve. If you feel like running up down the road, calling your baby name out, screaming it, hollering it, if you at the library, you feel like you need to grieve, grieve. Don't be ashamed to grieve. Don't hold your grieving back because you're scared people gonna be watching and judging you. They don't know what you going through. I walked that walk, and I still can't say what the next mama going through, what the next father going through, because we all grieve different. But don't hold back. Don't wait till you get home. Don't wait till they might say, "Oh, Martin went crazy." No, I'm not crazy. I'm just grieving right now in my own sense. You got to
Right.
let people see you grieve, because people tend to say, "Oh, she ain't grieving. She okay. She not past it," because we hide so much. We've been taught to hide so much inside us till we're ashamed to grieve in public. I don't. I don't.
Mhm.
If I feel like crying about my baby, I'm gonna cry. I don't care who looking at me and how they looking at me. And you ask me why, and I'm gonna tell you what's going on. It was a smell that came by that smelled like Richard. So I started crying. You ordered the food that you ordered his favorite food, so I started crying. You see where I'm coming from? Like
Right. Right.
it
Any.
just can be the simplest thing. My name, somebody walk up, hey, my name Richard. I may start crying.
Right.
But let me say this one thing. His buddies from the army have truly, truly stayed by my side. It's nothing that I can't pick up the phone and ask them for that they don't deliver.
Okay.
Every year on September the 27th, we celebrate his birthday. Never celebrate his death day, but we celebrate his birthday.
Hmm.
Last year, the guys bought live butterflies. They fly in from Hawaii, North Carolina, Georgia, everywhere. South, they come from everywhere to honor his name on his birthday.
That's special.
And, and they hadn't missed a beat yet. And if they do, I understand, because they got families too.
Uh huh. Right. Right.
But they have been by my side every step of the way. That goes to the SOR, Sons of Royalty. That's what they all call themselves, Sons of Royalty.
Okay. Okay.
And they are some good fellows. I've
Shout
been
out to the
blessed.
Sons of Loyalty. Shout out to them. Shout out to them.
To the
That's
Sons
that.
of Royalty,
That's
I've been
yeah.
blessed. I lost one, but I gained about 7 other ones.
Look at God. That's a blessing.
Look
That's a
at God.
blessing.
And they take me to meet their moms. They like it's been a blessing. Truly have.
Right. Yeah. So
What you saying, Shade? I can't see.
she said, and Tay too.
And Tay and Sean, nephews and cousins. Yeah.
Right. Right. So I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing the dialogue with us, and just not being afraid to really come and share what you went through, share what you're still going through, but still let us know that I'm gonna be all right.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm a warrior. I'm a champion. Like, we gonna keep celebrating my son's legacy. We gonna stay bonded with care and love and respect and positivity. And I'm so glad to see that you're gonna be working on this nonprofit. I look forward to, doing anything I can do to help once you get it up and running. And I just want to thank you for coming on the chat box and chopping it up with me, man. I really, really appreciate it. Because one
And
thing about it, a lot of people can't really talk about things like this right here. This is a real sensitive in a touchy
right.
subject for you, but you're still able to talk about it and you're still able to grow awareness, and I can appreciate that.
And I thank you because this has been a long time coming. We tried 3 or 4 years, ain't we? It's been
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we've
We
been
have.
we've been trying, but I thank you for bearing with me and come back and ask me to do it again. And this time I said I got to. I have
Right,
to.
right.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it. And it's been a blessing, and I hope I can help somebody. Um, Catherine Mott Abney on Facebook. If you need me, inbox me any time of the night concerning if you're going through the loss of a child. I can't. Well, I can tell you about a dad. I lost my dad, and I lost a sister. But definitely, if you lost a child and you really need to talk in the midnight hours, hit me up in my inbox, and I'll shoot you my phone number easily. No problem.
You heard it first. Chatterbox King Jacob, none other than my girl, my Abney, and I'm glad she tapped in. We love y'all. Respect, peace, and until the next time, we're gonna say good night.
Good night.